Hater, shine, very loose from waxing. Give me down the there, hair shows a length for longer. Here, baby, there, mama, everywhere, daddy, daddy, hey. Show it, now it's got control my hair.
Time to get up with the Jesse and Jean Show. Time to get up, don't be fed up. We got a lot of good things, you know. You get crazy people with morning breath right here on your radio. Get the let out, time to head out with the Jesse and Jean Show.
Stay with us.
All right, good morning, Toronto. It's Jesse and Jean. It is 6:12 in the morning, and we are doing something that has never been done before in radio. We are doing a live hair transplant this morning. Tell them where we are, Uncle Gene.
Well, we're not doing it. Dr. Fremont's doing it. We're at the Hair Replacement Clinic. It's at 2100 Ellesmere Road, just south of the 401. The best way to get here is if you're driving north on Markham, just go through the intersection of Ellesmere, and you'll see on 1200 Markham on the west side of the street. Pull into the parking lot, come in, say hi. You can't come into the operating room here, but we've got a TV monitor going in the other room. You can biggest supporters since we came to M640. You saw the sign on the side of the 400. Frank from Global Bedding, and by the way, Donna Sager was just delighted with her wedding present. We want to say thanks a lot for yet another bed from Global Bedding. And you came by this morning to see Jesse, and it looks like you have a little something. Frank, what do you want to say?
Yeah, I came in to see Jesse this morning and see what they're doing to him. He looks wonderful already with the beautiful hair on top of his head.
We're going to call it Goldilocks.
Goldilocks. He looks different already. Wonderful, wonderful.
Thanks, Frank.
And what I have, Jesse, here, I have something for you to make you feel better, to make your bua, as we say, feel better. How's that?
So, do you want to do the presentation?
Yeah, while we do the big presentation, I just want you to look like this guy, with lots of hair, Okay?
It's a little yellow lion with a ton of hair. That's beautiful.
Oh, that's
gorgeous.
great.
That's
Frank, what a guy. That's Frank from Global Bedding.
Embarrassing. And to try and draw a parallel to women, I don't know what it would be. Maybe some women feel that they want a breast reduction, or some might feel they want a nose job. For the guy, the equivalent is the hair. It's I don't know. In this day and age where we market hair and the physique and everything as being, something to achieve. For a gentleman who's losing his hair, you feel somehow less masculine than your friend sitting next to you. I know, it's a really tough, and it's like a woman who needs a breast reduction. She feels embarrassed to go to the beach in a bathing suit. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It might sound very vain, but unless you're actually in the situation, it's really tough to try and explain it to someone else.
And we have all the listeners standing around here this morning, if I can paint the picture, watching the procedure. I've been here since 5:30, sitting in the room, and I'll tell you, this is how fascinating it is. I've been drinking coffee and eating muffins watching this all morning long. And here in the room, we've got it on closed circuit TV. So it's not as if this is like a giant operation with people wearing surgical masks and stuff like that. It's a very easy procedure, and it's happening here, it's going on, and everybody's watching it, and nobody's getting sick or anything like that. And except Jesse, and he's been sick since birth. And a lot of guys who have come down here today who have thinning hair.
My mother was sick. Oh my God, I gave birth to a lizard. Put it back, Doc. Shove it back up. I want something else.
A lot of the guys who have come by and have checked it out, I think they're probably making up their minds whether they're going to get this done. Thanks, Spider.
So it's 8:53, and we are making broadcast history. Toronto Talks to Bill Carroll and cosmetic surgery on the Bill Carroll Show. So it's a very interesting day at AM 640. But
it's nose jobs and hair jobs all at once.
This has been very funny and very interesting, and I encourage any gentleman who's been thinking about this to come down and talk to Dr. Fremont at the Hair Replacement Clinic and Barb. It's a division of Hair and Faces International. Dr. Fremont is world-renowned with this procedure, and it's extremely affordable. And I'll tell you once again that my initial estimate for my job, what they're doing this morning, the last 3 hours, 1,000 new hairs on top of my head, $2,800, and it's tax deductible.
And ladies and gentlemen, that's just pennies a hair.
Hey, how is it tax deductible? I'm curious how this is tax deductible.
How is this tax deductible, Doc?
Well, comes under a medical procedure, and all medical procedures that are not covered by OHIP are tax deductible.
Beautiful. So it's 100% tax deductible. That's incredible. So if you're considering it, I'd say, we did some research and we found that Dr. Fremont was probably the
well, he teaches this procedure
around the world and all over North America. So, and it's a revolutionary new procedure where you don't look like a Barbie doll. He's been doing one hair at a time, and everybody's been watching it. And just to get an idea, we got quite a crew here this morning. Gang, have you been having fun here?
Yeah!
Beautiful. And, you know, as they say, your mileage may vary, so you'll have to get an appointment to find out how much it's going to cost you. And if you'd like more information, the number here for Dr. Fremont at the hair replacement clinic is 439-4247, 1200 Markham Road, south of the 401, just north of Ellesmere in Scarabia.
Just have one more question, Gene. When my acne clears up and this hair grows in, will you take me out and buy me that dinner you've been promising me for the last 8 years?
I may just have to do it now, mister.
All right. So, Dr. Fremont, I want to thank you very much. Have you had fun here this morning?
I certainly have, and you can come back anytime.
Okay, I hear the scalpel going in again. What does, you know, this is funny. I can hear ring, ring, ring. I know they're cutting something out of my head.
Our count was off.
Oh my God.
So
Just a second. Give me the mirror.
we have
Give,
3 extra
give me the
ones
mirror.
extra.
Gene, just a second here.
3 extra holes to fill.
I'm looking at the back of my head and I can see F-U-C. No. What have you done? Gene, what has he done to my head? He's carved the F word in my head.
It's a big joke. We transplanted a hairy Mona Lisa onto the top of Jesse's head. Toronto Talks with Bill Carroll is coming up at 9 o'clock this morning, followed by the Wicked 13 with Chris at noon, then Colonel Klink, of course, with Touchtone at 1 o'clock. We're just about wrapped up here. Give us a phone call, B&E, bright and early tomorrow morning, and we'll give you the results after Jesse's big transplant.
Dr. Fremont has said that if you call within the next little while and say that Jesse Dillon sent you, he'll work out something very special for you.
Exactly. He'll give you a couple of extra hair follicles just for free.
All right. That's how we can do it. Jesse and Gene broadcast first today, live from the Hair Replacement Clinic, which is a division of Hair and Faces International. Dr. Fremont and Barb and all our listeners, give yourselves a big hand this morning.
Big hand! You've been listening to live coverage of Hair Transplant 93.
For that. Well, our next guests are likely to be familiar faces to many of our viewers and are in studio today to talk about a hair-raising experience.
You said it, Mama. Dr. Larry Fremont is the head of Hair and Faces International. He's also the doctor who recently performed a hair transplant live on radio to award-winning DJ Jesse Dillon of AM 640.
Award-winning.
He's
Please
won
welcome
award.
Dr. Larry Fremont and Jesse Dillon.
Yeah.
I like that.
Thank you.
Hey, Jesse, good to see you.
Jesse,
I
welcome.
can see you wouldn't go in for the kiss. What do you think?
I'm looking at Robin's hair and I'm thinking to myself, that's got to be about $250,000 worth of hair. If of course it's real. I know you've alluded to the fact that it may be a hairpiece.
No, we thought it was a chia pet for the longest time, but I am told that no, this is he has a lovely mane, doesn't he?
That's a great head of hair.
Thank
Yep,
you very much.
it is. It's really a Toronto icon itself.
Best that money can buy.
Its own postal code.
We did the first live on-air hair transplant on a broadcast that had never been done before, so we pioneered something I was the guinea pig for. And we sat down one morning between 5:30 and 9 and actually did the hair transplant live. And while the needle was going into my head, the good doctor was performing the surgery. And so
You are very brave, Jesse, I gotta say. Did it hurt?
I'm not brave, I'm cheap. I got it for free if I did it live. So you know, people on radio, I've been listening to this week and it's been sounding very good.
Oh, thank you.
No, it didn't hurt. It didn't really hurt. I do triathlons and as such I compete a lot, and I was at the World Championships last year, so I had to train immediately afterwards, and I was swimming the next day, and it was really quite remarkable, the fact that the hair hung in there really didn't
Swimming
hurt.
the following day. Now, I was saying that Dr. Larry Fremont and Jesse Dillon are becoming synonymous. When I spoke about it this week, everybody said, oh yeah, the two of you, because you've been a spokesperson for Dr. Fremont, and you know, I'm just saying, Gene, be careful, because it could be Jesse and Larry at any
that's the way
given
it's looking.
time.
That's the way it's looking. That's the rumor on the street that Jesse and Gene are splitting up, and it's going to be Jesse and Larry, the hair doctor,
Let's show
in September.
Let's show the before shot,
Okay.
and Jesse, you can talk to us. We have a before of, this is like a Monday makeover of Jesse Dillon. You can tell us why you decided to do something about it. And
Holy smokes, it's a good thing I'm in radio. Look at that.
Okay, so this is prior to this entire operation. Larry, maybe you can talk to us about why, did you approach each other, or what happened here? Why did you finally decide, you know what, I want to make a change physically?
I know this is hard to believe, and but I woke up one morning and I looked like Ed Grimley from SCTV. If you don't know who Ed Grimley is, he has a unicorn tuft of hair in the middle of his head. He's a character on SCTV. And I looked like that one morning, and there was nothing I could do. I was completely receding.
Were you brushing it over?
No, it's just like, you know, I had a triangle in the middle of my forehead, and I did a little bit of research, and that led me to the path of Dr. Larry Fremont.
So where were you losing hair? Just on top?
Just Typical male baldness pattern,
Yeah.
Larry. Down the sides and in the back I had a huge, what we call a helicopter launching rocket pad in the back and completely receded down the sides. And it wasn't so much, I really didn't care losing my hair, it's just that I had one triangle in the middle of my head that I couldn't do anything with.
So who is a candidate for this, Dr. Fremont? I mean, can anybody go in that's losing their hair? Does everybody qualify?
Anybody qualifies providing that they have some donor hair in order to be able to redistribute to the balding area. It's a very minor procedure.
It has
so
to be their own hair.
It has to be their own hair, right? Yes. Minor procedure done in office.
Can you tell us what the procedure consists of?
Well, we have to anesthetize the areas that we're going to remove the hair from and anesthetize the areas where we're going to redistribute it to.
We have actually the entire procedure when you were filming on the radio. Just to interrupt for a second, Dr. Fremont, maybe you can...
What I'm watching right now is virtual vision television. I'm in absolutely no pain. This is live on the radio. As you can see, I've got a microphone in my hand and I'm talking to the populace of Toronto, and what Dr. Fremont is doing right now is burning holes in my head with a laser, which is the latest technology. These holes will then be supplanted with follicles. What they do is take about a 6-inch swath or a caterpillar of your harvest zone from the back of your head, where you have hair, cut it into hundreds of little plugs, if you want to call them, although that's not the right terminology, and then they put them back in your head.
You tell me this is not painful?
It wasn't painful at all.
Because you were distracted by the virtual reality.
You're watching virtual television, talking on the radio, drinking coffee, and
your daily routine.
Yeah, it's your daily routine.
Now, Dr. Fremont, obviously, when you talk about hair transplantation, it's gone through a huge evolution. This isn't what it was maybe 20, 30 years ago. What's changed, and why is it more accessible?
Well, initially they had to take the grafts by a circular motion of a drill, and then he pulled out these little plugs and they reinserted them into openings that they made also by removing some bald skin. Now those plugs looked very pluggy. You know, there are people around that you can see that still have the original transplants. And it looks like a doll's head. Nowadays we can refine them into smaller pieces, and these may make it look more natural. As you can see,
Well,
you don't
Jesse,
see
I'd
this
never
pluggy
know.
effect. Yeah.
I'd never know with your hair that this wasn't your hair. I mean, it is your hair, I know, but that it's not growing naturally.
He did have, now, what about, I know you got it for free, but what's the cost? Because I think everybody's first reaction is this is going to be expensive.
Look, we charge basically by a session. So what we do is we put in the time, and during that period of time, it's around a $3,000 price. And you may come again. It's a personal decision. How much hair do you want? So it's you come and you get as much as you need.
Is this the end of it with you, Jesse?
This is the end of it for me. Now, one of the things that I've opted for was Dr. Fremont's advice that I went for what is my natural hairline. I actually had hair where you can see it's receded here and stuff like that. But to bring it out like a full head of hair where one didn't exist, it would look unnatural. So I'm happy with a little bit of recession and a little bit of hair. This is fine for me.
It looks great. It's very natural.
What else do we have here to bring to our attention? They're going to take us through.
This is what he does is he has cut a swath, or what I call a caterpillar length of hair from the back of my head, where you always have hair, and they are cutting it up into, what do you call those that you're cutting it up to, Larry?
These are just micrografts, small pieces that are being reinserted into the crown of his head now.
See, Larry uses both procedures, the laser and also the scalpel, because the scalpel can sometimes give it a bit more cosmetically natural look as opposed to the laser.
It's remarkable. Absolutely.
Now,
both work.
we're out of time, but we have your information at the end of the show if anybody would like to contact you, Dr. Fremont. And just final words, what impact has it had on your life? Are you happy it did?
Yeah, I've stopped wearing a baseball cap, if that's any indication, so I feel a little bit better about that. It's hard to believe that men would go through something as self-conscious, but it is. It's a
and women too.
It's a big thing, losing your hair.
And it's so much better than a bad rug, isn't it? Boy, those rugs.
Well, you would know.
I think we have the two models with us today.
All right, I'll
you
take
can
it
go
off
for
right
the
now,
toupee.
guys.
Come on,
Okay, here we go.
Just make it move, Robin. Listen, I think it's fantastic, and of course, as I said, for men and women, they can seek this out now. Dr. Larry Fremont, a pleasure having you on the show. And Jesse, you're so brave.
Thank you.
You got a kiss for me this time? All right, Jesse Dillon.
Thanks a lot.
Hello and welcome to Healthy Living. I'm Dr. Marianne Goldhawk. With me today is Dr. Larry Fremont and Jesse Dillon. Dr. Fremont is a doctor who practices hair replacement, and Jesse happens to be a client of his. The interesting part about this show is that Dr. Freeman did a hair transplant on Jesse while Jesse, who is the host of the Jesse and Jean morning show, while Jesse was live on air. Our purpose for being here is to share with our viewing audience exactly how easy and relatively pain-free hair transplant can be. Welcome, gentlemen.
Thank you.
Wow. I mean, this is just phenomenal. When I actually heard of what was happening, that you did a hair transplant while, Jesse, and you were under your full faculties, you were actually talking on the radio. You did your regular show with your co-host, Jean. No challenge at all. You didn't have to stop. You were fine.
Fine. As far as we know, it was a first in anywhere in the world that someone has done a live on-air hair transplant. We've seen them before on ABC 2020. John Gallagher from City TV had one done live with, or on tape with Barbara Walters. But we did some searching and we found out that no one had ever done one live on the air at the time.
Wow.
And part of my criteria for having it done, I'm a triathlete and I'm going to the World Championships this year, was to be able to A, do my show right through, we broadcast the whole show at the time, and B, to be able to train immediately afterwards without any downtime. So Dr. Fremont's clinic was able to offer both of that for us. The on-air transplant was a lot of fun.
I bet.
Larry gave me a mild tranquilizer.
And how do you do that, Larry? Maybe you could explain to us how you did that.
Well, we give him a little tablet to put under his tongue, and within about 20 minutes, he's nice and relaxed.
And you could talk? There was no trouble?
A couple of times the guys noticed I was slowing down a little bit.
So what they do, speed you up?
They said, Jesse, you need another coffee here. Okay, and I was fine again. But a few times, you know.
So that was an oral tranquilizer that you gave him?
Yes, that's right.
Okay, and that was just to calm him down. Were you nervous?
I was. You know, the whole time I approached this leading up to the hair transplant with excitement. It's going to be fun. We're going to pioneer a radio show. When I actually sat in the chair, I started to say to myself, do I really need this? Is vanity really worth going under surgery? And as it turned out, it was really a piece of cake. We did the whole show 3.5 hours live. We had a number of people calling the radio station. We were putting them on. We had a link back to the radio station so we could take phone calls and put people on the air. And we had hundreds of people walk in during the operation to actually see it. So many so that we're going to do it again, and we're going to have a tent and a circus atmosphere.
That sounds great.
For the next event.
We're going to talk about that at the end of the show too, Jesse, just in case any of our viewing audience are interested in coming out to see this happen. But Jesse, I understand that you have had more than one procedure done. That's part of how it works, that you can't just go and have your whole procedure done at the same time.
Well, that depends now. If you have some existing hair, then maybe you just need a little bit to add to that. But if you are smooth as a baby's bottom, of course, you'll need to have a few sessions in order to get the volume and the density that you desire. Now, Jesse came with a little bit of hair at the first, so he may only need another session. That's what we're doing on May the 19th. But as time goes on, Jesse's only 36, I believe.
38.
38.
Thank you.
Okay,
That's kind
38. He looks like 36. Then it may be that he'll need another time further on. You know, you have to chase the problem if it's something that goes on.
And why do you wait in between? So that you know that the hair transplant took, that there's actually going to be growth there?
Well, it's really because of the compromising of the blood supply on the first time that you need to wait until healing is completed before you can add more to the area. Usually 8 weeks is sufficient, but I like to see a little growth before I attempt another procedure in the same place.
I see. I see. And how long would it take, though, if you were to take the entire area of baldness right through here, and you decided that at this particular point that you were going to give it a go? Jesse only had one time that he could see you. Would you do it? And how long would it take you?
It is possible. Now, we spend about 3 hours as a comfort level because...
on how large a space?
An area, well, I think one of the listeners at the last show asked about how big an area we were doing on Jesse, and they described it as about half a slice of bread with the crust cut off.
I see.
So that would be sort of the frontal area of the head.
That's a large area.
It's a fair size. But if
and that took 3 hours?
That's about 3 hours.
Wow.
And if they have the crown to do, we can go in for another 3 hours back behind the frontal area.
Must be
But
fatiguing
that's a
for
long
you.
time.
Right.
Well, we have people coming from overseas, so it's not so easy for them to return, so we do a double session.
It's terrible on his secretary and his assistant because he made a video, which you're going to see in a little while, and he lets everyone watch it. So his assistant, during the operation, Larry has a video in there, so you can sit and watch the video. And his assistant's probably seen it 1,000 times since we did the show. So when I phone now and she recognizes my voice, I'm like, gosh, it's him again. It's the guy I've seen 100,000 times.
Is it hard on your arms, Larry? I mean,
he does the operation with his feet.
Oh, that's encouraging to know.
Just because I have a way to put the person into a dental chair, and they can recline back, and I can sit, and so
Oh, I see.
I'm resting.
So
at
you're
the
so
same
you're working
time.
right in front of you, almost like on a computer.
I'm actually working behind them.
Behind the
yes,
patient, but right in front of you.
Correct.
On the same level as a
Yeah,
computer.
that's correct. Yeah,
Isn't
I'm
that
sitting
great?
and they're sitting.
So when you went live and did this procedure, that was your very first ever hair transplant procedure.
Yes, yes it was.
And you were really nervous.
When I sat down in the chair before the operation started, yes, I was nervous.
I bet.
I was really nervous. And I really started to question, you know, I mean, it had been fun and we'd been talking about it on the radio. And really the whole reason we did a live on-air hair transplant was so that I could have the operation for free. It's
That's
a
a
joke,
good idea.
joke of course. But when I actually sat down in the chair and started thinking about what was going to happen, I really started to question whether or not, you know, I said, I must be out of my mind. I'm so vain that I'm going to have surgery
Right, here we
to
are.
implant hair. But
You were kind of too. It was too late to back out.
it was too late. It was
Sure.
too late. We'd set it up and away we were going, and there was just nothing we could do about it.
Jesse, tell us honestly, what did you feel when this was being done?
Physically,
Yes.
apart from the metal aspect,
Yes.
initially, Larry, Dr. Fremont, said we're going to anesthetize the area. We're going to give you a needle. So basically, it was a needle into the head. I thought he was kidding initially when he said, I'm going to put a needle in your head. But it was almost a painless procedure, very similar to someone who, you know, a nurse who's been very kind with a needle before and has had to take blood or something. This is a slight prick. And then as the needle goes in very slowly, it really wasn't very painful. And once the area was anesthetized, you know, it was very easy for him to work on. The only thing that really felt uncomfortable to me at all was you can actually feel, you know, you can actually feel the hands going back and forth on your head. Your head was being physically manipulated when they were taking the incision area, which is they take a swath of hair out of the side of your head,
Right.
where your healthy hair is,
Right.
cut it up and reattach it, much like reforestation. But the only thing that was uncomfortable at all, there was really no pain other than the actual physically handling of the head. It was kind of, boy, they're really doing something back there.
So you could you feel them take the hair out here?
No, not really.
The whole
I could just,
scalp was anesthetized?
yes, yes. I
And
couldn't
then
feel it.
when he actually put the transplant in, could you feel the work being done there?
No,
Could you see?
you could just feel the pressure against your head as the hand went up and down.
Isn't that something?
Yeah, actually, when I asked Jesse, did he feel anything, he said, yes, he had a deep feeling for me.
We've developed a fondness for him that we'd like to discuss later.
Oh boy. And you're quite happy with your results?
I'm very happy.
You've had how many procedures now?
I've had 2 procedures so far. The second procedure was less than 2 weeks ago. And I've been training, doing swimming, biking, running, weight sessions right through because, as I said before, I'm an athlete and I'm aiming for the World Championships this year.
In New Zealand?
In New Zealand,
That's great.
in triathlon. So that was, I stress that because I think a lot of people have the misconception, as did I, that I would be down on a floor
Or like
mat
a surgical procedure.
I thought
right?
I thought I'd have my head wrapped up for a week and I'd be on heavy medication because I've talked to other guys that have had an operation from other doctors where they've had their heads bandaged and they've been on heavy medication for a week.
Now, why, Larry? You tell us why that would be.
Well, I think going back 30, 40 years ago when hair transplantation just came into being, I don't think anybody recognized that it was so simple to begin with, and they wanted to make sure that the person was getting the best from the discomfort, so they gave them medication. Well, actually, if they would have just stopped for a little while and asked the patients, do you really feel anything, they wouldn't have needed all that.
Is that right?
And when I started pioneering this myself in 1983, I just started with the fact that people really don't experience a lot of pain, and let's try it out. And so that's the way we've been ever since. No bandages and very little in the way of medication post-operatively.
You started off in general practice.
I did, yes.
And how on earth did you ever go from general practice of medicine to what you're doing today?
Well, for 2 reasons. As my practice got older and people were concerned about some of their hair loss, they started to question that. Now, it wasn't a big concern to me because I was dealing with the real medicine at that time. And then I started losing my own hair, and I started to become more concerned. Now I can understand what they're feeling. So I started to look into the situation, and I asked a few of my patients if they were interested in me trying some techniques out on them, which certainly they didn't mind in the least. And the results were so successful that before a year, I had many, many patients coming to me just for that particular reason. And
well, how did you learn how to do it, though? I mean, you didn't just wake up one day.
There wasn't a place actually you could go to and learn. So with a lot of books and the fact that I worked in a hospital environment and sewed up a lot of scalps over the years in the trauma wards, so it wasn't an area that I was unfamiliar with. And some textbooks and a few seminars, and it was just trial and error.
Before we started the show, Larry, you mentioned that you are also a colleague of Dr. Wayne Carman, who is a plastic surgeon, and that perhaps hair transplantation is a form of plastic surgery.
That's correct, yes.
And you and Dr. Carman, who will be a guest on our show in the near future, have started a group?
Yes, the Aesthetic Professional Group, which we have 4 real divisions. One is cosmetic surgery, the other is hair transplantation. One is refractive surgery, being able to throw away your glasses after you have laser surgery, and another is a cosmetic dentistry branch. And we've grouped ourselves together to be able to provide this type of change over in a person's physical appearance, and functional as well.
And does this group work out of one clinic?
No, but we have a 1-800 number which we'll be able to access every office when they call that number. And that number will not be in effect until May the 1st.
Oh, I see. So this is brand new?
It's brand new, yes.
Isn't that great? And your purpose, though, is that you will all work together?
Yes.
For the common, and to transplant Jesse's hair and maybe to do plastic surgery on
yes, in
Jesse's
fact,
mom or something.
When I have a patient that is sitting in the chair for 3 hours, they discuss a number of things to me, which would only seem right if they could have some other area that they're interested in. There's a lot of people who've had refractive surgery for their eyes as a result of sitting with me, because I had that a number of years ago, and it worked so well that I certainly am willing to talk about it to others.
We're hoping to pioneer a new broadcast in September where we do a hair transplant, a nose job, and a breast implant, all in the same person.
All,
half an hour.
All in the same person, Jesse. Yeah. Why would you need those other two, Jesse? This is a great place.
Actually,
for us
it's
to take
interesting.
A break.
I would never consider this, but pec implants are all the rage in Hollywood right now.
Oh, is that right?
For guys,
For
getting
guys,
their, I mean, I think that's
and
crazy,
and
but
calves as well.
but it's
Is that right?
nuts.
Yeah.
Okay, guys, we're going to take a break. We'll be right back. Please stay with us.
Consider what your body goes through day in and day out. You stretch it, slam it, and just plain give it a hard time. In today's world, there's only one way to help your body cope: chiropractic care. Your doctor of chiropractic is trained to solve your body's problems, helping it work and feel just right. After all, if your body wears out, where are you going to live?
This message is brought to you by the Ontario Chiropractic Association.
Welcome back to Healthy Living. I'm Dr. Marianne Goldhawk. With me is Dr. Larry Fremont and Jesse Dillon. We are going to actually show the tape of you having your hair transplant when you were broadcasting live. And this is going to be really interesting. Hopefully what you can both do is share with us what was going on all the time that this was happening. We're going to roll that tape right about now.
That's my partner, Gene Velitis, and obviously that's me in the chair. You can see we've got microphones because we were broadcasting live via satellite back to the CN Tower and out to the metropolis of Toronto and everywhere else that our signal at AM 640 reaches, which is as far away as Huntsville. Now, Gene is interviewing the good doctor here.
Oh, can you feel that?
And, oh, I didn't want to see this. That's when they made the first incision. You take over, Larry.
He can't feel. This is the donor area coming out. There are going to be 4 strips of hair that are coming out. It's about 6 inches long. You'll see them, I think, in the next shot. There they are.
Oh, dear.
And the technician is separating them. That's Barbara. She'll have to dissect those strips into smaller pieces to be reinserted to Jesse's scalp.
This is my partner pointed out. He said it looked kind of like a caterpillar, and now I can see that he's
he was telling the truth. At this point in time,
tell us about you right now.
we're on the air, and I don't, as you can see, I think I look a little stunned here. I'm not really sure what's going on. I've got a microphone. I'm on the air live. We're speaking to somewhere in the neighborhood of just under 1 million listeners at this point in time, and I probably don't have a real clue what I'm talking about, but I'm continuing anyway, because we are on the air live.
And what we're doing here is we're sewing up the area of the scalp which was removed in order to harvest for the
I see.
For the
so there's actually going to be
transplant.
stitches in Jesse's head there.
That's right, and these are dissolving stitches.
Oh.
This is clearly the most graphic and really the meat and potatoes of the operation. It gets a lot simpler after this when they start implanting the hairs into my head. This is the most gruesome part.
And there she is. Now, what's she doing, Larry?
She's taking those strips that you saw previously and she's cutting them into small, either single hairs or small pieces that will be inserted into Jesse's scalp.
And how did you decide ahead of time which area you were going to do? I mean, Jesse, you decided that you wanted this filled in first?
We sat down and we said there's basically 2 areas that need to be done, the front and the back. And Larry said, why don't we do the front first? Because that's what people see first on